of the CDBG program, which funds capital projects, fair housing programs, and rehabilitation and public service activities. And whereas the HOME program provides funding to local communities to create decent, safe, and affordable housing opportunities for low income individuals. Nationally, more than 1 million affordable housing units have been completed using home funds. And whereas the home program has contributed to the city of Fort Lauderdale's effort to support affordable housing through construction of new housing, rehabilitation aid for homeowners, and down payment assistance for eligible first-time home buyers. And whereas the city of Fort Lauderdale support these two valuable programs that have been made, who have made tremendous contributions to the vitality of the housing stock, infrastructure, public service, and economic vitality to the communities. Now, therefore, we, as the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, do hereby proclaim April 10th through 14th, 2023, as National Community Development Week in the City of Fort Lauderdale, and invite all citizens to join as we recognize the important role of these programs play in our communities and, and communities across the nation. This date, the fourth day of April 2023, signed by our Mayor, Dean J. Trantalis.
Do you have any thoughts you'd like to share with us? Is this your whole team?
Yes, it is. Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Thank you for taking the time to recognize this very important part of what we do here in the city, National Community Development Week. But we cannot do this single-handedly. I just want to share briefly some of the statistics that we have done over the past 3 years and some of the services that we have offered and some of the agencies that we've partnered with. Over the last 3 years, we have invested over $9 million in CDBG and home funds in improving the lives of residents in our community. We have done such projects as the annual asphalt and sidewalk improvement, which we have done about 6 miles of roadway resurfacing and sidewalk improvements. We have done small business education. We have contributed to the development of the new LA Lee YMCA Mizell Community Center, which we invested about $500,000 of block grant funding to help that project come to reality. We have supported 26 families in owning homes here in the city limits, 96 families in making their homes more habitable, and we did a landmark project in creating one affordable energy efficient home for home ownership. And during the pandemic, we assisted 107 households to remain housed and prevent homelessness. Along with that, we have assisted over 5,000 persons through various social services offered by the Community Development Block Grant, such as our Senior Companion Care Program. And as I mentioned the names, could the agencies, if you're here, please stand, offered by South Florida Institute on Aging, or child care daily subsidies offered by Jack and Jill Children's Services, or Homeless Supportive Services, which offers meal and transportation by Broad Partnership for the Homeless. And if you're in the room, please stand to be acknowledged. Or Domestic Violence Shelter Services offered by Women in Distress, or Housing Services for Youths Aging Out of Foster Care offered by Homes, Inc., Assistance for Homeless Youth offered by Covenant House, Homeownership Education offered by Oasis of Hope, and I can't read my own penmanship, Oasis of Hope, and Housing Foundation of America, Fair Housing Education and Outreach offered by Hope Fair Housing, and rental assistance offered by multiple agencies, Consolidated Credit and South Hope, South Florida. Thank you so much. We could not have achieved the work we do without your partnership, and we value you. And we thank also city staff who partner with us, especially our finance department, who we are always bugging. Please hurry up and cut this rent check. We need it like yesterday. And thanks to our Public Works Department for efficiently carrying out the asphalt project. And we could not do it unless we had a team of dedicated individuals. And I want to just recognize the team from the Housing and Community Development, now under the leadership of our Department Director, Mr. Chris Cooper. We have Avis Wilkinson, our Assistant Housing Manager. We have Evelyn D'Souza, Housing Supervisor, Kenyatta Black, Russell Castile, Xavier Perkin, Jason Adams, Akila Grant, Denise Graham, and Angelo Walsh. Thank you all so much for your commitment.
And we appreciate all the great work you do on behalf of this community. I know a lot of people contact members of this commission and talk about, why don't you all come right in front of the dais? People talk about the homeless situation we have in our city, but what they don't see is the success stories that you have proven to us tonight, how this effort is continuing, and we really, really appreciate all the work that you do on behalf of this community. All those people that she mentioned, why don't you all please come up? We'd love to. Come on, ladies. Come on, gentlemen. This is a family affair. And Commissioner Beasley Pittman, if you could stay at the podium, as you are now going to be presenting a proclamation regarding the Second Chance Month here in the city of Fort Lauderdale. And I'd like to invite Joshua Brown, if he can please come up to the front of the room. Is Joshua here? Is that you, Joshua? It says Second Chance Matters. You gave it away.
How are you tonight? Good, good. All right. From the Office of the Mayor of the City of Fort Lauderdale, proclamation in recognition of Second Chance Month, April 2023. Whereas Second Chance Month raises national awareness of the barriers faced by formerly incarcerated and encourages businesses, communities, organizations, and government agencies to assist these individuals by offering resources for rehabilitation and redemption, exemplifying that America is the nation of second chances. And whereas Second Chance Month presents a unique opportunity to examine and address the root causes of crime and underlining the need of those who were once in prison. And whereas more than 70 million Americans have a criminal record, these individuals face significant challenges as they reunite into society, including a lack of access to education, housing, employment. And whereas thousands of legal and regulatory restrictions prevent them from accessing employment, housing, voting, education, business licensing, and other basic opportunities. In 2022, nearly 75% of those who were once incarcerated were still unemployed 1 year after being released due to these difficulties. And whereas community partnerships are instrumental in making a difference in the lives of formerly incarcerated individuals. Organizations such as Step Up serve as a voice for the voiceless and, and provides support to those who are ready to move forward. And whereas supporting people who are committed to um, reuniting, I'm sorry, who are ready to recognize their mistakes and redefine themselves as making meaningful contributions to society can help reduce and build faster Fort Lauderdale for all. Whereas the City of Fort Lauderdale is an exclusive employee that recognizes this benefit housing qualified and experiencing candidates despite their criminal records due to past mistakes or unfortunate circumstances. Now, therefore, we, the City Commissions of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, do hereby proclaim April 2023 Second Chance Month in the City of Fort Lauderdale and encourages everyone to commit to empowering Americans who have paid their debt to society and seek to improve our community. This is dated this day, the 4th of April, 2023, signed by our Mayor, Dean Trentalis.
Joshua, do you have a few words you'd like to share with us?
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, and residents. I want to say, of course, we all know what's being transpired. But what we need to do is let's start looking at individuals and not start judging them about their past. Let's give everyone a second chance. So if we can take this month to recognize April as Second Chance Month and not look at individual past and mistakes, we definitely can reduce the recidivism rate. We definitely can reduce the homelessness and other factors that individuals face when they return back to their community. And let's remove that stigma that comes with someone whose previously was incarcerated. So let's take this month to recognize April as Second Chance Month and not condemn anyone on their mistake, because we're human. We all make mistakes. So April is, of course, Easter, when we're supposed to be forgiven with the birth, the death, and the risen of our Son. So let's do the same thing for individuals who make mistakes. Let's give those individuals a second chance. I appreciate it, and I hope the community can go out and let's educate individuals who may have made a mistake or who do make a mistake. I will be doing a walk on April 22nd. It's called Second Chance Awareness Walk. Of course, it wasn't able, with the last minute circumstance, we wasn't able to put it on this year with the city, but hopefully next year we can have an opportunity to host this walk at one of our neighboring parks. So if you get a chance, you can go to Step Up on Instagram to learn more about this walk that's taking place April 22nd, and it's the first inaugural Second Chance Awareness Walk. So I hope I can see each and every one of you guys, and not you spread the word for anyone who was once incarcerated and want to come and share their success stories, overcome barriers that they faced once they paid their debt to society and re-enter back into the communities. Again, I would like to thank Vice Mayor, Mayor, and Commissioner Pam Beasley for recognizing April, and hopefully see everyone. And now we can go out and educate the community of what it means to give someone a second chance. It was an honor.
Great. Great. Congratulations. And thank you. For our next presentation, I'd like to invite our Vice Mayor, who will present a proclamation regarding April 2023 as Water Conservation Month. And I would like to invite Cesar Alza, who's the Regional Water Facilities Manager, to come on up.
Caesar.
I think off to a good start. Okay. Thank you, everyone. In recognition of Water Conservation Month, 25th anniversary, April 2023, whereas all living things need water, and clean and sustainable water sources are vital to the environment, economy, and quality of life in Florida. And whereas South Florida Water Management District, Broward County, and the City of Fort Lauderdale collaborate to increase awareness of water conservation. And whereas the City of Fort Lauderdale, State of Florida, have designated April, which is typically a dry month when water demands are most acute, as Water Conservation Month. And whereas the City of Fort Lauderdale encourages water conservation through various educational programs. Whereas 40 million gallons of water are used daily in Fort Lauderdale. And whereas one way to reduce this amount and protect the environment is to choose Energy Star certified appliances. And whereas in just 1 year, the average family can save 13,000 gallons of water, which is $140 water cost by replacing old inefficient toilets in their home. Talking about toilets, okay? And whereas everyone can contribute to water conservation, and together we can protect South Florida's water supply for future generations. Now, therefore, we, as the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2023 as Water Conservation Month in the City of Fort Lauderdale, and urge our neighbors to help and protect our precious, finite, and fragile water resources by making water conservation a priority and implementing water-saving measures year-round. Dated this 4th day of April 2023, signed by our mayor, the Honorable Dean Trantellis. You want to come up here for a photo?
Caesar, you want to share a few words?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can say something. Being in this business for I've been in the water treatment business for almost 29 years, and water conservation was always for us, very big. One of the things that Broward County, in conjunction with all the cities, Fort Lauderdale and the whole Broward County cities, and South Florida management, they create all these programs. And you see that, I remember the first time when they do the irrigation days, odd days for certain people, even days for certain people. They do programs that the city participate to, like Water Matters, that you actually get educated. We got rebates programs like, the sink, the toilet, the doctor said. So, but the main thing about it is you see for the years that being actually very successful. But pretty much it will continue being successful or better is we do something about it. I talk about the citizens. Because if we don't educate ourselves and we ignore it, it's always an issue, because we think it's no big deal. A little drip might be 25 gallons per day, that you lost. And you leave it for a long time, it's always an issue. So I like to get all this opportunity to encourage people to think about it, let's think about the future. Let's think about good environmental. And when you see a little leak or one of the things that sometimes drives me crazy, I drive around and see people with the irrigation system on, it just rained 2 hours before, and people need to be conscientious about that. So I guess what I'm trying to say, is we can do all the efforts and education, but if you guys don't put the effort to actually do it, it won't work. Right now it's working. I see it for years. I remember the first time we see it. It's very good. So that's it. That's what I want to say. Let's continue with the effort. And pretty much thank you everybody, because in the long run, that is working because everybody's doing something about it. Right? Thank you.
Well, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank Caesar and Alan and Public Works for supplying something that we truly take for granted every day, clean, drinkable water. Thank you guys so much for everything that you do.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor. And our last presentation, which will be presented by myself, regarding Child Abuse Prevention Month here in the city of Fort Lauderdale. And in doing so, I'd like to invite Nicholas Hessing, the Government Affairs Manager of the Children's Services Council here in Broward County, to please join me at the podium. So from the Office of the Mayor of the City of Fort Lauderdale, this proclamation is given in recognition of Child Abuse Prevention Month here, April 2023. Whereas adverse childhood experiences, including the abuse and neglect of children, can cause severe consequences for children, families, and society as a whole. Every child has the right to a safe, healthy, and happy childhood in which they are educationally and developmentally supported, and Florida's future depends on the healthy development of its children. It is vital that individuals, businesses, schools, and community organizations take action to support the physical, social, emotional, and educational development and health of all children. Research shows that parents and caregivers who have support systems and the ability to seek help in times of trouble are much more resilient and better able to provide safe and nurturing environments for their children. During the month of April, Prevent Child Abuse Florida, in collaboration with the Florida Department of Children and Families of the OUNSA Prevention Fund of Florida, implements Pinwheels for Prevention. Pinwheels for Prevention is a statewide coordinated campaign aimed at increasing awareness of child abuse prevention, the efforts by encouraging healthy child development, positive parenting practices, and community support. The blue and silver pinwheel displays in this campaign symbolize the health and happiness of all children, which is what they deserve. Finally, whereas the child abuse prevention programs succeed when partnerships are created between child welfare professionals, education, health, community, and faith-based organizations, businesses, law enforcement agencies, and their families. Now, therefore, we, as the City Commissioners of the City of Fort Lauderdale, do hereby proclaim April 2023 as Child Abuse Prevention Month here in the City of Fort Lauderdale and urge all Floridians to engage in activities that strengthen families and communities and share in the effort to provide the optimal environment for healthy child development. Signed by myself this April 4th, 2023. Congratulations. Would you like to share a few words with us?
So last proclamation of the night, I promise. Mayor Trentalis, Vice Mayor Sturman, Commission, thank you so much for presenting us with this proclamation. On behalf of the Children's Services Council, we appreciate it. You know, every child deserves to grow up and achieve their full potential, but without that, it's not possible unless they're raised in a nurturing and safe environment. So thank you to the City of Fort Lauderdale for standing with the municipalities across the county to protect childhood.
Let us begin our meeting tonight. Before we do that, I just want to make an announcement regarding a dedication ceremony that we're going to have for the Joanne Smith Botanical Garden, which is just down the street. The City of Fort Lauderdale and the Riverwalk Fort Lauderdale and the Fort Lauderdale Citizens Volunteer Corps and the Women's Club of Fort Lauderdale are inviting everybody in the community to join us in Stranahan Park, which would be tomorrow, April 5th, 2023, at 11:30 a.m. at the dedication ceremony of dedicating a section of the garden to the Joanne Smith Botanical Garden. This is at 10 East Broward Boulevard. Parking is next door at the parking garage. This is just a wonderful opportunity to recognize a woman that has been so much a part of the fabric of the city of Fort Lauderdale and continues to provide just wonderful things that this community has benefited from. I've known Joanne for almost 20 years, great lady, and this is such a wonderful honor that we can bestow upon her. Also, as we know, the holidays are coming up, and I think we should all recognize that Passover is coming up, Easter's coming up. I want to thank all those who share in those religious practices. A great holiday season for everybody, and wish everyone the best of health as we move forward in the years, in the months ahead. So let us begin the meeting, and at this point, we come to what's called the consent agenda. The consent agenda is where the City Commission votes on all the items all at once, unless any member of this commission chooses to pull an item to discuss it, and we will vote on that item separately. As I poll each of the members of the commission to see if they wish to pull an item, if there's an item which you wish to speak on tonight that has not been pulled, you'd be invited before we begin any voting we give you 3 minutes to make a public presentation, and then we will vote on those items. So right now, I'd like to ask members of the commission, beginning with Commissioner Herbst, do you have any items you wish to pull on the agenda?
I do not.
Okay, Commissioner Beasley Pittman?
CP1.
Hold on a second. 1 second. My computer is not cooperating. Hold on. Okay. CP1, you said?
Yes.
CP1, okay. Commissioner Glassman?
None, Mayor, thanks.
And Vice Mayor?
None.
Okay. So except for CP1, is there anybody here who wishes to speak? Do I have any other? No, okay, no one is asked to speak tonight. Wow, we have a happy community tonight. Okay, except for CP1, do I hear a motion to approve all the consent agenda items?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Great. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman? Yes. Commissioner Beasley
Yes.
Pittman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and all the consent agenda items are now approved. If you are all here on any of those items, you're certainly welcome to stay for the rest of the commission meeting, and otherwise, your item has now been approved. CP1, Commissioner Beasley Pittman.
Yes, in my pre-agenda meeting on last evening, the question came about regarding the funding for this item. The question is it coming from the general fund or a bond?
Susan, do you have an answer for that? This is regarding the HVAC replacement at the Five Ash Complex.
Yes.
It is coming from the capital outlay in the, let's see, what fund is that? And the water and sewer, just regular capital, it's not bond funded.
All right, thank
It's
you.
the enterprise fund that we have established for the water and sewer, and it's coming from that, not from the general fund.
All right, thank you.
Great. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I hear a second? Been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner Beasley Pittman?
No.
Vice Mayor Sturman? Mayor Trentalis?
Yes. And move on to M1, the motion approving an event agreement and request for music exemption for Cinco de Mayo at Taco Craft. Anyone here from Cinco de Mayo? Oh, yes. How are you? Anyone have any questions? If none, would someone like to move the item?
Moved.
Do I hear a second? Been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sturman? Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and M1 is now approved. See you there. M2, motion approving event agreements and related road closures for the 2023 Walk Like Mad and Mad Dash Fort Lauderdale 5K Rotary Club of Fort Lauderdale Pirate Fest and the Mass District events. Someone like to move the item?
Moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sturman? Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and those event agreements are now approved. M3, motion approving an agreement to provide generators to the George T. Lohmeyer wastewater treatment plant, $7,683,812.36.
Those are nice generators.
Those are nice generators, but it keeps keeps us flowing. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
It's been moved. Do I hear a second?
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
You know, Vice Mayor, first they take away your title, then your microphone's not working. What's going on? Yeah, I'm voting yes.
He's being canceled.
Canceling him out.
Commissioner Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes. So that motion is now approved. We have a neighbor presentation tonight. William Schneider regarding boat ramp access for tours. Mr. Schneider, are you here? Come on up. We give you 3 minutes to make your presentation. Good evening, Mr. Schneider.
Good evening, how are you?
Is that mic working?
Yeah, I believe so.
Is it on?
Is it working?
Yeah, okay,
It's
very
on.
good.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, for me. I don't know if you recall, I was actually back here in
We recall.
August. Yes,
Yep.
and I've essentially have been a donkey chasing the carrot since then. I just keep getting, my business keeps getting grouped in with a rental business type of thing, and I don't do rentals. I'm a tour business. My tour guides are being stopped on the waterways by the marine units, being told they're operating illegally, and telling my customers these things that are not true. I do not conduct my business at the boat ramp. I have a brick and mortar location. Customers meet at the brick and mortar location, and we conduct our tour. We have several tours. Some consist of the beach, some consist of the different parks, some do include jet ski tours. At that point in time, we shuttle our customers to the various ramps depending on the tour. They are put into the water, accompanied the entire time, and returned, and then we finish our tour. That is not a rental. A rental is when you would give a customer a equipment, say you have 1 hour, meet you back here in 1 hour, and they go and do whatever. That's not how I conduct my business. My business is not collecting money when you come and apply for these permits that I've got back in 2014. In this very building, actually, right around the corner, they sit you in the office and they explain to you what you can and cannot do. You're not allowed to take money, you're not allowed to advertise, you're not allowed to do paperwork, you're not allowed to do repairs. It's a long list of things you cannot do at these ramps.
So when you say tours,
Yes, sir.
so you have like a watercraft that goes on the water, but you have someone from your company operating it?
It's individual jet skis, and they follow us through the city, through the different canal and the different
Okay,
routes.
so they don't go independently.
It's jet skis, yeah, they're independent jet skis, correct.
No, but they don't. Like you don't just give them the key and the jet ski
Oh,
takes
no,
off.
God, no, absolutely not. That's exactly what we don't do.
Because the
It's-
biggest
it's-
problem
we-
with-
They
the
get
biggest-
instructions on how to operate the unit,
Right, but-
and then they follow us. They're not allowed to just go on their own.
They're not allowed to go on.
No,
there.
absolutely not. They have to go with our route behind our guided tour, who is
Okay.
certified by the FWC lifeguardings as well.
Okay, because one of the biggest problems we've had with regard to that launch area is an issue with regard to jet skiers and other small watercraft exceeding the speed on that area and creating wakes and disrupting the water frontages that many homeowners have along the Middle River. That sometimes they have floating docks and they're being damaged, and just the very noise that come from some of those from some of that watercraft. So you're saying that would not be emanating
That's
from any
not
business
we're the
practice
exact
that you
opposite.
undertake.
Yeah, that's exactly what we don't do. We have a guided tour. We do not promote a high-speed experience. We promote a slow-speed sightseeing tour is what we are. We are slow-speed sightseeing tours. They follow the instructor at the minimum wakes speeds, and they are not to go by themselves whatsoever at any point in time. So there's none of that excessive speed going on at all during my tours. It's not what I promote. It's not what I do. And it's just it's been a real thorn in the side and really been, losing a lot of money. And it's, very uncomfortable and detrimental that, we're getting grouped with these rental companies, and that's not what my company is.
So what seems to be the problem here?
That I'm not allowed to access the waterways to conduct my tours. And I would need access to the waterways in order to do this. And There's never been a problem up until recently. And I've been doing this since 2014. I have no infractions, I have no violations.
Mr. Thornburg, you want to, I assume this is under your jurisdiction? What's the city's response to that?
So this is considered running a business, just like the other ones that we've talked about before, Mayor. So understanding what he's saying, it's still, I mean, I can defer to the attorney's office, but as we understand it, and the police department, who's, I guess, enforcing this, would be still running a business out of the park, which is not allowed by the park rules and that came to the city commission.
And so we don't allow anybody to run their business from that launch area, is that
That's
correct?
But I'm not running it. My business is ran out of my office. I'm only accessing the water pump. I'm not running the business there. And there is a company there that currently runs a business out of it.
So we have the one company Blue Moon, that operates out of the George English Park, that has a contract with the city, that when it was bid out, they won the bid. That's the only one that's authorized to run a business out of the park. And as you know, we've talked about this numerous times at the commission about the other businesses that were using park properties, not only George English, but other areas along the New River and places to, again, part of running their business was utilizing the parks. And the way the park rule reads and the way it's been interpreted is that that's not allowed.
Commissioner Herbst, this is your district, right?
Yes, sir.
Has this gentleman approached you at all, or do you know anything about this?
I have not had a conversation with him about this.
So Mayor,
I'm not familiar
Dwayne
with that. That's who
Spencer.
that is.
I'm sorry?
I said I'm not familiar with who that is. I'm sorry.
Mayor
Okay.
Dwayne Spencer, interim city attorney. So I don't think it's necessarily productive for the gentleman to attempt to explain circumstances that our law enforcement and park staff see out in the field. So there is a park rule that they're out there enforcing. The type of business doesn't matter. I know he's trying to distinguish the individual jet ski renters from his own business and is attempting to give you guys an impression that his business operates slightly differently. But I'd ask that you allow the personnel that's on site to kind of deal with that, and he can address that through the various enforcement mechanisms available and not through a citizen presentation.
Okay. All right, that's what our city attorney says. Our city attorney is basically saying that it's in the nature of a business, and there's only one business license to do business at that site, and the people that are allowed to use it as a launch area are people that have individual watercraft not connected to a business, and yours are connected to a business, and that's the interpretation our city attorney is giving this.
And that is not how it's been explained when we obtain these. That's what I'm saying. This has changed. That's what's not fair. They're essentially bullying out my company is what's happening here for something I didn't do wrong. I mean, this is not, we've been operating long before any of this. I've been here, this is not new. I'm not a new company that just started.
I'm not saying, I think there's been a policy change within the city, and they just wanted to license one operator out of that site or allow an individual member of the public to take their own watercraft and launch it from that site. I think that's the policy.
That is not how it was instructed. This is not. So essentially, my business is being shut down by the city.
Your business is not being shut down.
I can't
Your
use the
business
ramp.
in connection with that site is being.
How am I supposed to access the water? How can I access
You say
the
you
water?
have you said you had a brick and mortar
That's not-
business,
Yes, sir.
and you have multiple sites from which you operate. So we're not the only site that you operate your
No, but
business.
as far as accessing the water, I need to access to get in the water. And there's only
This is the only
ramps.
place in the city where you
There's
can
only-
access
a ramp.
water?
Yeah, a ramp, a public boat ramp. How else am I supposed to get in the water other than a ramp?
I don't know the answer to that question.
I'm telling you, that's the only answer, sir, is
Okay.
the ramp. There's
Okay.
the only way to put jet skis or any watercraft in the water is by ramp.
Well, I'd have to ask that you try to work with the city attorney's office to figure that out.
I
The commission
have.
is not in a position to respond to that.
And then I come back here again, and it keeps getting in circles, and in the end, I'm losing my business. And that's what's happening. So I've worked so hard to build this business, and the right thing they should do is if they want to change the policies to grandfather the existing companies in, and then not issue these permits for future companies so they don't have this problem, especially if myself is not in violation to any of these rules. I don't advertise there. I don't take money there. I don't do any type of actual paperwork, repairs. All I simply do is put in the water and take out of the water, and it's the only place to physically do it. It's
Well,
not fair.
I
This
would
is not
invite-
fair.
I
This
would-
is, at the beginning, we pledged allegiance for justice, and this is not
All right,
justice.
I would invite the district commissioner to work with you on that, and if there's any way that it can be, it can be possible for you to continue to work there. But right now, the city commission cannot make a deal with you,
And
okay?
who would I speak with to moving forward on this?
The city commissioner for District 1, please contact Mr. Herbst's office and see if he can work with you. If not, that's your best chance is with Mr. Herbst.
Is this something we could take up at conference next?
This is something that they have to take up between him and the city attorney's office. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
R1, appointment of board and committee members. Mr. Clerk, would you please like to announce the nominations?
Yes. For the April 18th resolution, Community Appearance Board, Mark Cashian, nominated by Commissioner Glassman. Historic Preservation Board, Richard Bray, nominated by Commissioner Glassman. Parks, Recreation, Beaches Board, Tangerine Moore, nominated by Commissioner Beasley Pittman. And for tonight's resolution, Board of Adjustment, Howard Elfman, nominated by Commissioner Glassman. Charter Revision Board, Harrison Grand Williams, nominated by Commissioner Glassman. Ben Sorensen, nominated by Mayor Trentalis. Community Appearance Board, Sarah Zubero, nominated by Commissioner Herbst. Education Advice Board, Alyssa Mendez, nominated by Commissioner Herbst. Fire Rescue Advisory Committee, Arlen Kennedy Sr., nominated by Commissioner Beasley Pittman. Fire Rescue Facilities Bond Issue Blue Ribbon Committee, Don Larson, nominated by Commissioner Herbst. Housing Authority of the City of Fort Lauderdale Board of Commissioners, Ty Richardson, nominated by Mayor Trentalis. Marine Advisory Board, Barry Flanagan, nominated by Commissioner Herbst. Steve Witten, nominated by Commissioner Glassman. Northwest Progresso Flagler Heights Redevelopment Board, Alfredo Olvera, nominated by Commissioner Glassman. Kenneth Calhoun, nominated by Mayor Trentalis. Parks Recreation Beaches Board, Mary Peliquin, nominated by Commissioner Herbst. And Edan Eckstein, nominated by Mayor Trentalis. And we have one additional name, if we can add as amended this evening, Joy Oglesby, nominated by Commissioner Beasley Pittman, and that's also Parks Recreation Beaches
For which
Board.
committee?
For Parks Rec
Parks
and
and Rec,
Beaches,
okay.
yes.
Okay, any additional names you would like to announce into the record? If there being none, do I hear someone like to introduce the resolution as amended?
So moved. So introduced.
The resolution has now been introduced as amended.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, appointing or nominating, if applicable, board and committee members as set forth in the exhibit attached hereto and made a part hereof. Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and those folks are now appointed to those boards and committees. I want to thank each and every one of them for the commitment that they're going to make to the city, and thank you for making the time to improve the wonderful city we have here in Fort Lauderdale. Now looking at R2, this is a resolution approving a request for a special permit to extend the construction hours for Pier 66 Hotel and Marina Development, construction of large or complex projects. Tell us a little bit about what this is. They want to extend is there someone here representing the organization? You want to come up? I see Stephanie Toothaker, or is there anybody else? Okay. Come on up. Now, you want to start construction at 5 a.m.?
Yes, sir.
Really?
We've done it for the last year. My name is Rick Sugar. I'm with the AMJV joint venture that's building Pier 66.
And I'm Chris Gandolfo with Tavistock Development. So let me just sort of
Yeah.
give a little bit of background.
Give us a little bit of background.
So the development started back in 2019. We stopped during the COVID and we restarted again.
about a year ago. Before we started, we submitted for a waiver for noise. And our thought process at that point was we knew that we were going to have a lot of concrete pours at that time. We'd be doing a lot of noisy things. We were respectful of the community. We met with them, and we came up with a noise mitigation plan. And I think we've been quite successful with it over the past year. I think the records will show that we've only had 4 noise complaints. And that goes, I attribute that to the terrific job that, the team's done there. We've had to do early concrete pours. We've had to do early starting of piling works. We don't foresee a lot of that over the next year, but we do still feel that it's necessary to have the waiver in place, and we'll continue to do what we have done in the past year to mitigate noise where possible.
Well, it's not just the auger cast piling that you want done. You have the concrete pours 2 to 3 times a week starting at 5 a.m. and then sheet pile impact drivers at
That-
6 a.m. That's the pounding into the ground
That
at 6
operation,
a.m. in the morning.
but that operation is now over with.
That's done.
That's done.
Okay, so that's not part of this
Correct.
task then. Okay.
That was in the original, the first hearing.
So is there any pounding or drilling that you're asking to take place, or is it just the operation of trucks?
It's operation of trucks, and it's getting the trucks off the road early enough in the morning to not to create traffic during the morning rush hour.
Vice Mayor, this is your district. You have any-
I brought this up pre-agenda, and we did not have a problem with this.
You're okay with it?
Yeah, my neighborhood did not have a problem with that.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions or comments regarding this?
I think it's really nothing new. It's just an extension of what they already have approved.
I understand that, but, people put up with it up to now, and, you're asking them to put up with it for, another year. And I just want to make sure everyone's okay with it, and that's why it's important to hear from the Vice Mayor.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful project. We see it coming along very nicely. We appreciate the investment that Tavistock is putting in our community. It's just the pain we have to go through to get there. But please do your best. It's important. You're right on top of houses there. That's the thing. And so, okay. Any further questions? Okay. There being none, would someone like to, let's see, is it a resolution? Someone like to introduce the resolution? Commissioner, Vice Mayor, do you want to introduce the resolution?
Is this working? Introduce.
Introduced. Okay, the resolution's been introduced. If there's no further questions, please call the roll.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, authorizing the approval of special permit to extend construction hours for the Pier 66 Hotel Marina development subject to requirements of Section 17-10 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Herbst?
No.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sturman,
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
R3, resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a communications services tax agreement with the Florida Department of Revenue. Susan, this gives us more money, right?
Well, and it gives us access to the database and sharing data.
Oh, to make sure that they're not taking more money away from us?
Correct.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions with regard to R3? There being none, would someone like to introduce the resolution?
Introduced.
Okay. Please call the roll.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, authorizing the city manager to execute a communication service tax agreement with the Florida Department of Revenue for access to confidential state tax information, authorizing the Director of Finance as the city's designated person, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sturman,
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and R3 is now approved. R4, resolution approving an agreement for Employee Health Center Administration and Business Associate Agreement, waiving Division 2 purchasing. Would someone like to introduce the resolution?
Introduced.
Anyone have any questions with regard to R4? There being none, please call the roll.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, approving an agreement for Employee Health Center Administration and a business associate agreement with Marathon Health LLC and waiving the mandatory commission approval amount in the competitive solicitation selection processes contained in Division 2 Procurement of Chapter 2, Article 5 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida for purchases of goods and services for Marathon Health LLC and providing for severability, rescission of conflicting resolution provisions and an effective date. Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sturman,
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and that resolution is now approved. R5, this is a quasi-judicial resolution approving a design deviation request for a site plan level 2 development permit of South of River Associates LLC. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in, and the commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them a part of the record. Commissioner Herbst, do you have any disclosures?
I'm sorry, Mayor.
Take your time. Want me to pass over?
Yep. No, go
Okay.
ahead.
Pass
It's,
over.
hey, it's in the season.
Pass over.
It's in the
Pass
season,
over.
okay? Commissioner Beasley Pittman.
Yes, conversation with Christopher Smith.
With Christopher Smith? Okay.
Yes.
I've had meetings with the representatives of the of South of River Associates and with the developer. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I've met with the applicants and attorney Stephanie Toothaker on October 12th, 2022, and March 16th, 2023, and a site visit.
And Vice Mayor?
Met with Stephanie Toothaker.
And back to you, Commissioner Herbst.
And Mayor, yes, I met with the applicant as well as the attorney on January 20th.
Okay, very good. All right, so no one has signed up to speak other than for questions. Anyone wish to speak on this item? There being none, someone like to move to close public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sturman,
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and public hearing is now closed. Would someone like to introduce the resolution on R5?
Introduced.
And that's for approval?
Yes.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, approving the issuance of a site plan level 2 development permit for an alternative design that meets the overall intent of the downtown master plan for the development of a 47-story mixed-use project consisting of 479 residential flex units, 45 residential units from the downtown rack, 2006 unit pool, 306 residential units from the downtown rack, 2016 unit pool, and 12,798 square feet of commercial use located at 633 Southeast 3rd Avenue, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, in the Downtown Regional Activities City Center zoning district, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sturman,
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and that resolution is now approved. Moving on to PH1, public hearing, quasi-judicial ordinance approving a rezoning from residential multifamily high-rise to parks, recreation, and open space. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in. The commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them a part of the record. This is a city-driven initiative, correct? Yeah. So I had no meetings with anybody. Did anybody have any meetings with anybody? No.
No.
I've had no meetings, but I have had numerous site visits.
Okay.
It's in my district.
Camping out in the...
It's in my district, so I have visited.
It's like a
I have
little
visited
sliver of
the-
land,
It's a
right? Yeah.
little sliver.
It's like a little
It's a little sliver, but it's a mighty one.
It's a mighty.
A little
Is it
sliver.
costing us anything?
We already paid for it.
Okay.
We did that a couple years ago.
Yes, I thought. Okay. All right. So no one has any disclosures, right? Vice Mayor, you have no further disclosures?
None.
Okay. So someone like to move to close public hearing?
Mayor, can I just ask Steph a question?
Of
about
course.
Before we get to this.
Why don't we close public hearing
Okay,
first?
go right ahead.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sturman,
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and public hearing is now closed. Please go ahead.
Yes, thanks. So I guess it would be Phil. Phil, maybe if I could just ask you a question or two. Thanks. And it's about this initiative. Also, some questions that came up at my pre-agenda meeting last evening. And everyone is thrilled that we're moving forward with this. How long before you think we'll actually get to the original 30 park sites that were part of that original initiative?
So Chris might be able to answer that. I know this one was pulled off of I think we brought about 14 so far, and I think there's another group of 6 or 7 coming, and there's another group after that. But
Okay.
they're with his office, they go through his office to move forward through the process.
Okay, I think
we
we're
may
about 17 now. I think there was a tranche of 8 and then 9.
Well, does this constitute like a real park?
Well, yes, it does.
It's a small area.
But that's okay. So pocket park, it's a park.
Okay.
But it's better than zone for residential multifamily high rise, medium high density RMH 25.
Your point is well taken.
Thank you.
So, Commissioner, our goal is to have these done by this summer. As Phil said, we've got a few more coming on.
Who
the
said there
next
were no
meeting,
parks in
probably
District
6 or
1?
7. So, hopefully either just before your break or shortly thereafter.
Okay, so once we get to the end of the 30 that were identified originally, do we have plans to look at other sites? And the reason I'm asking that is last night we discussed, you know that little area that's referred to as Channel Square, just east of the Las Olas Bridge on the south side of Las Olas? It's a little green area that over the years has actually been part of the Las Olas corridor improvement projects, but never got the attention, never got the plan. There were several iterations of ideas that came forward and nothing happened. But there's been a concern about that particular area. Maybe if staff could look at that site, but it's commonly referred to as
Merle Fogg
Channel
Park?
Square.
Where are you
No,
talking about?
No, Merle Fogg is
You said
on
the
the west
east side.
No,
You said-
Merle Fogg is the west side of Las Olas by Idlewild. This is
Okay.
the east. Is when you come over the Las Olas Bridge
On the right-hand side?
on the south side, correct. There's a little grassy area close to like where the waterway comes right up to Las Olas.
Yeah, it's
by
at
the
the-
corner there
Right,
of
it's at the end of the
Seabreeze and
canal.
Las Olas.
It's at the end of the water there on the canal.
Correct.
So you're right, Commissioner, and we're aware of that, and it's been, I just asked not too long ago, it used to be under CRA jurisdiction, and since CRA is now sunsetted, it's just back to city ownership. So what happens with that property, I guess, is probably, up to the city manager and the commission on where it goes from here. But it's no longer under CRA ownership, it's now under the city's ownership.
Okay, so I'd like us to look at that. I think it would behoove us to probably include that in this rezoning to park.
Is that on the back side of the Venetian?
No, it's, okay, so.
You cross the
The
bridge.
Venetian is much further south. This is almost right at the intersection of Seabreeze and Las Olas. Just a little bit,
it's a little
bit
slip
west
there.
of that.
Okay, I know.
A
what
little
you're
bit west of that, where the
Okay.
water is.
Yeah, it's on the south side of the road,
Right.
south side of Las Olas between Seabreeze and
Correct.
just
Yeah.
kind of across to the south from the quarterdeck.
Right. And again, the seawall there also is really in disrepair. We should probably take a look at that as well, Alan. But that seawall really needs some attention. And then if we could go ahead and add that to the list for park designation, that'd be great. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Would you like to introduce the ordinance?
I'd be happy to. Introduced.
Please call the roll.
In ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of the official zoning map of the City of Fort Lauderdale and Schedule A revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof so as to rezone from RMH 25 residential multifamily high-rise medium high-density district to Parks, Recreation, and Open Space District, Lot 5, Block B, Bermuda Riviera Sub of Galt Ocean Mile, according to the plat thereof as recording in Plat Book 38, page 46 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, located west of North Ocean Boulevard, north of Northeast 41st Street, east of Northeast 34th Avenue, and south of Northeast 42nd Court. All said lands being in the City of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sturman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and the ordinance is now approved. I guess that's it. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's it. I think we're done for
No,
today.
that is not it.
You're so cruel.
There's one more item.
You're so cruel,
One
Mayor.
more item. How did I overlook that? Okay.
Let me get a little
R6.
tissue. I have to just pass the tissue to Vice Mayor Sturman. Okay.
R6, resolution designating vice mayor. It has been the tradition of this commission to appoint its vice mayor in descending order of the numeration of each district. So District 4 is currently the vice mayor, so it would now fall into District 3, and that would be Commissioner Beasley Pittman. Do I hear someone who'd like to introduce the resolution designating Commissioner Beasley Pittman as the new vice mayor of the city of Fort Lauderdale?
Allow me to introduce the resolution.
Okay. The resolution has been introduced. Any questions, comments, protests?
Do you fit this shirt?
Calm down, Vice Mayor.
It's not her color.
No.
If you had one in purple?
Yeah, I don't even think it is a color, exactly.
Okay,
Mayor,
please
before we vote, may I just say thank you to Vice Mayor Sturman for his service?
Look at him and say
I'm asking you, I'm going to tell you
Yes,
that.
you have my permission.
Thank you. So thank you, Vice Mayor,
Thank
for
you
your
so much,
service to the city as
I
our
appreciate it. Thank you
Vice
so much.
Mayor. Excellent job. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Unfortunately, it was an abbreviated tenure because of the way the charter. We'll have to maybe make a change in the charter as part of the
Right.
Charter Review Commission.
But in 4 years, you'll get to do it again, maybe.
Hopefully.
that's
There you
Yeah,
go. We'll see.
Hopefully.
Okay, there being no further comments or questions, please call the roll.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, designated Pamela Beasley Pittman as vice mayor for the term beginning on April 4th, 2023, and ending upon designation of a vice mayor at the City Commission's first meeting in April 2024, and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes, and congratulations.
Commissioner Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor
It
Sturman?
is my honor, yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, congratulations. And thank you for your willingness to take on the role and the responsibility. Susan, you have anything further you'd like to comment on?
I do not.
No further business?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. Spence, do you have any further business?
I do have a executive closed-door session request pursuant to Florida Statute, Section 286.0118A. I'm seeking advice on the following matters. The City of Fort Lauderdale et al. Versus Terminal Ventures LLC et al. Case number CACE 22-0911-787, and case KCFXC Aviation Investments LLC and Terminal Ventures LLC, bankruptcy petition number 22-19815-SMG, and case of Stefan Nagy et al. Versus 1813 North Fort Lauderdale Beach Boulevard LLC et al. Case number CACE 21-015100 during the City Commission regular meeting of April 18, 2023. At the time to be determined, present at the attorney-client session will be Mayor Dean Trantalis, Vice Mayor Pamela Beasley Pittman, Commissioner John C. Herbst, Commissioner Stephen Glassman, Commissioner Warren Sturman, City Manager Greg Chavaria, Interim City Attorney Dwayne Spence, Outside Counsel Stephen Fender, Esquire, Outside Counsel Ed Dion, Esquire, Outside Counsel Michael T. Burke, Esquire, Certified Court Reporter from Bailey Etin Court Reporting. The estimated length of the session will be approximately 30 minutes each. And that concludes my requests.
Okay. Your request is accepted. And,
Thank you.
Is there any further business of the commission? Before we conclude, once again, I'd just like to wish everybody who is of the Jewish faith a happy and a healthy Passover. I understand it begins tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow
Okay.
evening at sundown.
Okay, and those of the Christian faith, I wish everybody a wonderful and happy Easter. Those who are Greek Orthodox, Kali Anastasi. This meeting's over.